planning a cruise to Amalfi? Few cruise destinations deliver a first impression quite like Italy's Amalfi coast. Colorful villages cling to dramatic cliffs, winding roads overlook the Mediterranean, and historic towns rise above some of the most beautiful coastline in Europe. And Salerno can be an excellent gateway for cruise passengers who want to experience it. In this Cruising with CJ guide, we'll show you what it's actually like visiting the Amalfi coast from Salerno, how to get there, the top attractions, local foods and souvenirs, practical tips, and a few fascinating facts. Welcome to Cruising with CJ, helping you cruise smarter, one port at a time. If you find these cruise port guides helpful, consider subscribing to the channel. Now, let's explore the Amalfi coast via Salerno. Before heading toward the Amalfi coast, it helps to understand exactly where your cruise ship arrives. Salerno's main cruise facilities are located around Molo Manfredi, on the western side of the city's waterfront. One of the first things you'll notice is the striking Stazione Marittima di Salerno, or Salerno Maritime Terminal. Designed by internationally renowned architect Zaha Hadid, the terminal's distinctive flowing shape resembles an oyster shell. Ships using the berth at Molo Manfredi can dock directly alongside the pier, allowing passengers to walk ashore without tender boats. Inside, the modern terminal features flowing ramps connecting its levels, along with basic passenger facilities. And its location puts you surprisingly close to Salerno itself. Getting into Salerno from Molo Manfredi, you can begin exploring Salerno on foot. Just outside the port is Spiaggia Santa Teresa, a popular waterfront beach and public space. Continue along the waterfront and you'll reach Lungomare Trieste, Salerno's scenic seaside promenade. The route is relatively flat and leads toward the historic center. Depending on exactly where your ship is berthed and your walking pace, allow approximately 10 to 20 minutes to reach the central waterfront and historic areas. Taxis are also available if you don't want to walk. But if you're heading directly to the Amalfi coast, there's one important detail you need to know. Your cruise terminal and your Amalfi Coast ferry terminal may not be the same place. Here's one of the most important things to understand before visiting the Amalfi coast from Salerno. Your cruise ship will dock at Molo Manfredi, beside the Stazione Marittima. However, many Amalfi Coast ferries, particularly Travelmar services, depart from the Masuccio Salernitano harbor near Piazza della Concordia. When booking, this departure point normally appears as Salerno Concordia. The two ports are approximately 2 kilometers apart. Walking along the flat Lungomare Trieste waterfront takes around 25 to 30 minutes, while a taxi usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on traffic. Other ferry operators may use different departure points, so always check the exact port printed on your ticket and allow enough transfer time before you're sailing. From Salerno, cruise passengers have 4 main options for exploring the Amalfi coast: ferry, public bus, private transfer, or organized shore excursion. For independent travelers visiting during ferry season, traveling by water can be one of the easiest and most scenic choices. And there's another major advantage: you avoid the traffic on the Amalfi Coast Road. The famous coastal highway provides spectacular scenery, but it's also narrow, winding, and susceptible to heavy congestion, particularly during the summer. Direct journey via ferry from Salerno Concordia to Amalfi typically takes around 35 to 45 minutes, depending on the operator and sailing. Tickets are relatively inexpensive, generally costing around €12 each way to Amalfi, although fares can change. Continuing farther along the coast to Positano costs more and takes longer. During the busy season, popular ferry departures can fill up. So if you know when you're visiting, consider purchasing your tickets in advance. And for cruise passengers, I'd prioritize something even more important: secure your return ferry before you start sightseeing. Knowing exactly how and when you're returning to Salerno removes one of the biggest uncertainties from your day. Don't think of the ferry as simply transportation. The journey itself is one of the highlights. As you leave Salerno, the urban waterfront gradually gives way to mountains, colorful coastal communities, and increasingly dramatic cliffs. Along the route, you'll pass areas around Vietri sul Mare, Setara, Maiori, and Minori before eventually approaching Amalfi. And here's a simple seating tip. Traveling Salerno to Amalfi, sit on the right side of the ferry for the coastal views. On the return journey from Amalfi to Salerno, sit on the left. And if your ferry has an outdoor deck and conditions permit, that's even better for photos and video. Approaching Amalfi from the water provides one of the best introductions to the town. Mountains rise sharply behind the waterfront, while colorful buildings climb into the narrow valley. Once you step off the ferry, most of Amalfi's major attractions are within walking distance. And that's one of Amalfi's biggest advantages for cruise passengers. You don't necessarily need another taxi, bus, or tour once you arrive. From the ferry landing, walk toward the historic center, and within minutes, you'll reach the heart of Amalfi. Your first major stop should be Piazza Duomo, the lively heart of Amalfi. The square is surrounded by cafes, shops, and historic buildings, but your attention will immediately be drawn toward the dramatic 62-step staircase rising above the piazza. At the top stands Amalfi Cathedral, also known as the Cathedral of St. Andrew. The elaborate facade combines striped stonework, Moorish-style arches, and a brilliant mosaic depicting Christ enthroned. Beside it, the medieval bell tower is crowned with intertwined arches and colorful Majolica tiles. At the entrance, look for the ancient bronze doors. Cast in Constantinople during the 11th century, they are among the oldest surviving medieval bronze doors in Italy. The cathedral is dedicated to St. Andrew the Apostle, the patron saint of Amalfi. Relics believed to belong to St. Andrew have been preserved here since 1208, making the cathedral both the city's most important religious landmark and a major pilgrimage site. Visitors enter at the top of the cathedral's monumental staircase. Entry to the main cathedral for prayer is free, while admission to the complete sightseeing route, including the Cloister of Paradise, Museum, and Crypt of St. Andrew, currently costs around €4 for adults and €2 for children 6 and up. The usual visitor route begins inside the Cloister of Paradise, constructed during the 13th century as a burial place for Amalfi's noble families. Its white marble columns, arabesque arches, and peaceful central garden create a striking contrast with the busy square outside. From there, the route continues through the Basilica of the Crucifix, the oldest section of the complex and now home to the Diocesan Museum. You'll then descend into the richly decorated Crypt of St. Andrew, located beneath the cathedral's main altar. Local religious tradition associates the saint's tomb with a clear liquid known as the manna of St. Andrew, which is said to appear during certain feast day ceremonies. The visit concludes inside the main cathedral, where Baroque decoration, granite columns, religious artwork, and a gilded ceiling create an interior very different from the medieval facade outside. About half a mile, or 800 meters, inland from Amalfi Cathedral, the Amalfi Paper Museum occupies an original 13th century paper mill. Inside, working water-powered machinery brings Amalfi's centuries-old paper-making tradition to life. The town's durable, soft-textured cotton paper has even been used for official Vatican correspondence. Depending on your chosen experience, you may also have the opportunity to make your own sheet of paper. The museum shop sells authentic Amalfi stationery, notebooks, and other lightweight souvenirs. Admission starts at approximately €4.50, while hands-on experiences cost around €12. Travelmar passengers may receive a discount by presenting their ferry ticket. The walk from Piazza Duomo takes about 10 to 15 minutes and rises gradually uphill, so visitors with limited mobility should allow additional time. Just 2 minutes from Amalfi Cathedral, the Maritime Museum occupies the medieval stone arsenal where ships were once built for the powerful Republic of Amalfi. Beneath its vaulted ceilings, exhibits explore the city's seafaring history through ancient coins, navigational instruments, the influential Tabula di Amalfi Maritime Code, and a historic regatta galleon. The museum is a cool, mostly accessible stop near the waterfront. Allow about 30 minutes for a visit, but check current admission prices and opening hours before arriving. Beyond the Duomo, museums, and shops, Amalfi offers quiet neighborhoods, scenic trails, and seaside escapes. Explore the narrow alleys and hidden courtyards of Rione Vagliendola, or climb to the monumental cemetery for panoramic harbor views. More adventurous visitors can hike through the waterfall-filled Valle della Ferriere, or toward Torre dello Zero, overlooking Amalfi and Atrani. For an easier outing, walk through the pedestrian tunnel to neighboring Atrani. From the harbor, boat trips visit the glowing Emerald Grotto, while water taxis provide access to the secluded beaches of Il Duoglio and Santa Croce. Many viewpoints and beaches require steep stairs, so plan according to your mobility and available port time. Amalfi's cuisine celebrates fresh seafood and its famous local lemons. Must-try dishes include scialatielli pasta with seafood and a crispy quapo filled with fried fish and calamari. Regional cheeses such as mozzarella di bufala and provolone del Monaco are also worth sampling. For something sweet, try a lemon cream delizia al limone, a flaky ricotta-filled sfogliatella, or refreshing lemon sorbet served inside a lemon shell. And of course, no visit is complete without a chilled glass of limoncello. And if you want to take a little taste of the Amalfi Coast home with you, you're in luck. From limoncello and lemon products to colorful ceramics and handmade Amalfi paper, the town is filled with distinctive local souvenirs. And there's one more souvenir you'll see throughout Campania that looks suspiciously like a red chili pepper. It's actually traditionally a cornicello, or corno portafortuna. This horn-shaped charm is associated with good fortune and protection against the malocchio, or evil eye. You'll find them as necklaces, keychains, and ornaments throughout the region. And before you start filling that suitcase, there are a few practical things worth knowing that can make your Amalfi Coast Port day much easier, from money and tipping to weather, safety, and accessibility. Italy uses the euro. Credit and debit cards are widely accepted along the Amalfi Coast, but carry some euros in cash for buses, small shops, and public restrooms. When a card terminal asks whether you'd like to pay in euros or your home currency, choose euros and let your own bank handle the conversion. At restaurants, you may see a coperto or cover charge added to your bill. This is not a tip. Tipping in Italy is generally optional, and the large percentage-based tips common in North America aren't expected. If you receive particularly good service, rounding up or leaving a few euros is appreciated. The Amalfi Coast has a Mediterranean climate with hot, sunny summers and mild, wetter winters. Spring, from March through May, and fall, from September through November, usually offer the most comfortable sightseeing temperatures. Summer, from June through August, is hot and busy, especially in July and August, so bring sunscreen, water, and sun protection. Winter, from December through February, is generally mild but wetter, with reduced ferry service. Because rough seas and poor weather can disrupt ferries at any time, always check current conditions before leaving your ship. The Amalfi Coast is generally safe for visitors, but the landscape creates some practical hazards. Expect steep stairs, uneven walking surfaces, narrow roads, and intense summer sun. Wear comfortable shoes, stay hydrated, and use extra caution around cliffside roads and hiking trails. Petty theft can occur in crowded tourist areas and on public transportation, so keep your wallet, phone, and bags secure. Tap water is generally safe to drink, and pharmacies are easily identified by the familiar green cross. For emergencies in Italy, call 112. And for cruise passengers, one of the biggest risks isn't crime. It's running out of time. Traffic can become extremely congested, and ferry service can be affected by weather. Always build a generous buffer into your return. The Amalfi Coast can be challenging for travelers with limited mobility because of its steep terrain, stairs, cobblestones, and narrow streets. Accessibility varies significantly between towns. Central Amalfi around the waterfront and Piazza Duomo is relatively manageable, although the Cathedral of St. Andrew sits above a long staircase. Ferries may be easier than crowded public buses for some travelers, but accessibility varies by vessel, dock, and sea conditions. If you use a wheelchair or mobility scooter, confirm accessibility directly with your ferry operator before purchasing tickets. For travelers requiring reliable step-free transportation, a pre-arranged accessible private transfer may be the easiest option. Before we finish, here are 5 fascinating facts about the Amalfi Coast. Number 1. Amalfi was once a maritime superpower. It's difficult to imagine today, but medieval Amalfi was once an independent maritime republic and an important Mediterranean trading center, alongside other great Italian maritime powers such as Venice, Genoa, and Pisa. Number 2. The word cappuccino comes from Capuchin monks. The coffee's name is connected to the Capuchin order of friars, whose brown robes inspired the description of the drink's color. It's a fun Italian connection, but despite stories you may hear locally, cappuccino wasn't actually invented on the Amalfi Coast. Number 3. Amalfi's lemons have a connection to life at sea. The famous Fusato Amalfitano lemon has been cultivated along the coast for centuries. Lemons also became valuable aboard ships because their vitamin C helped sailors combat scurvy, creating another interesting connection between Amalfi's agricultural and maritime traditions. Number 4. Amalfi became one of Europe's early centers of papermaking. Amalfi's extensive Mediterranean trading connections helped introduce papermaking techniques influenced by the Arab world. That tradition eventually developed into the handmade Carta d'Amalfi you can still find here today. Number 5. The Amalfi Coast became part of Wonder Woman's world. Several locations along the Amalfi Coast were used to portray the fictional island of Themyscira in the 2017 movie Wonder Woman. So some of those spectacular Mediterranean landscapes may look familiar even if you've never visited the Amalfi Coast before. Thanks for watching Cruising with CJ. If this guide helped you plan your visit to Salerno and the Amalfi Coast, consider liking the video and subscribing for more cruise port guides. And remember, cruise smarter, one port at a time.